Here I'll talk about the limitations of speech acts, how various speech acts or how the theory available to us in form of speech acts fail to cover certain statements which we do employ in our daily languages or in other forms of communication. Let's have a quick look on various kinds of problems with the theory of speech acts. These speech acts which come to us through various theories in the knowledge of pragmatics uh, do not uh, do not fit well where various speech acts overlap. For example, we do have certain statements which do not clearly fall into one speech act, and we might be confused on most of situations that either they are expressive or representatives or any other kind of speech act. So the boundaries of speech act are not clearly defined either, or human communication is such a dynamic phenomenon that no theory probably of speech acts would ever be able to cover it completely, because we tend to convey more than one meanings, multiple meanings simultaneously in many of our communications. Let's have a look at one of the examples here. I'm going to share with you a piece of writing from a very famous novel of English literature, Lord of the Flies. In this novel, we see a group of kids. They are trapped in an island by a bad stroke of luck, and one of those boys named as Piggy, he says something about the situation when they are trapped there. Piggy says they are all dead. He's talking about the other kids who were with him when they were trapped in that island. Said Piggy, eh, this is an island. Nobody don't know we are here. Your dad don't know. Nobody don't know. Look at the formation of sentences. Look at the state of mind of the person, or the state of urgency in the mind of the person who is speaking. The piggy. Uh, we may stay here till we die. So these kind of statements apparently seem to be a kind of representative speech which describes a certain situation in which the boys were trapped in, and it clearly shows a situation in which they are. But if you look deeply, it seems like an expression of cry, an expression which is calling for some kind of help, be it divine or human help, and a certain state of urgency in which, if these words are interpreted, they may be seen as a little emotive outburst by that little boy there. So, taken in this situation, these words can be taken as an expressive speech act instead of a representative speech act. So, these could possibly one of those situations where various speech acts would overlap, and it would be very difficult for us to divide between speech acts academically. Another problem is about the messiness of everyday language. We do use some fillers like, as you know, there you go. They don't have real semantic orientation. They don't have clear meanings in various situations, and they may serve as fillers or filters in multiple situations. And it is very difficult to put them in any class since they don't have clear semantic orientation or categorization. It is very difficult to put them in any kind of speech X based classification. Similarly, we have other words which are used as feedback or back channel, which are provided by a listener or hearer to give the speaker a signal that they are listening, and uh, or sometimes to signal that to continue. The words like was it, oh, really, do not fit neatly into any category of speech act. So this is another problem. Similarly, we have another category of incomplete sentences. It's very difficult to put incomplete sentences into any category of speech act because They are not said completely, and an ordinary hearer or an academic would find it very difficult to put them in any clear category of speech acts. The statements like "but she didn't do" kind of stuff, the rest is left unsaid. So where would you put it? It's very difficult. And we all know that a lot of what we say in everyday speech is left unfinished. And in this case, we can assume that most of the things we say in our daily talk would not fall into any category of speech acts. But still, they may have meaning in certain situations. So, therefore, we could say that the theory of speech acts is not without any drawback. Rather, there might be certain areas of human conversation where this theory would not apply completely, and we may have to look for another solution in future.